The Gun Shop Show, the Gun Shop Show. What is it? We don't know. The Gun Shop Show, the Gun Shop Show. Here we go, it's the Gun Shop Show.
Go ahead and put you on screen, bud.
Welcome and settle a debate that just rolled in.
Oh, hot debate already?
Hot debate coming in from the intro.
Happening early.
Let us know in the comments. Do you agree that the Gun Shop Show theme song needs a little banjo?
I think it needs more cowbell.
Oh, that's true.
Oh.
I do have a fever. And the only prescription.
Some of those documents you got there.
Cowbell. Welcome to the Gun Shop Show. I'm your host, Eli Bruton, and we got a great show lined up for you today. And to make it all happen is the man behind the buttons. I'm talking keyboards, mouses,
That's him.
screens.
Behind the iron
He's
curtain.
clicking.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
sliding. He's touching.
He's
He's
punching.
plugging.
He's toasting.
Bopping
And
it.
that is Mr.
Twisting.
Trevor
Pouring wine.
Schmidt.
Hey-o!
And then we've got our resident looker, the one that our listeners tune in and they let us know
He's a real man.
they're here. He's a real person. And here he is, Mr. Logan Joe.
I really like to harmonize with myself on that one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Hey, so we have JT Hardin from F3 Media coming up on the show. Just guy that's done work for basically every top tier brand you can think of.
Everybody.
He's made video and photography and marketing material for them. So he's got some really interesting insights into some of the new things on the market and some of the behind the scenes of what it takes to get a brand message out in the gun industry. So that'll be exciting. There's some other stuff I want to talk about, though.
What do you want to talk
Yeah,
about?
which one to talk about?
You know our guest, Rob Pincus?
I do know.
I do.
Our guest,
Yep.
Rob Pincus.
I am
Yep.
familiar.
I caught a little bit of a social media post that he made yesterday.
Okay.
That I thought was a really valid point.
Yeah.
That needs to be said more often.
Yes.
There's sort of this misnomer in our industry that we can never regain lost rights
Right.
in the gun world.
I think I know what you're talking about.
So I think it is important to remember that it is hard once you lose the right to something to regain it. So it's very important to hold the line and keep your gun rights from being restricted. But it also becomes this doomsday sort of mindset that if a ban is put in place, there's no precedent that it'd ever be reversed or that we'll gain freedoms. And that's really just not true.
Yeah, I mean, didn't that happen with assault rifles at the end of, or the beginning of Bush's term? He rolled back some of the regulations that Clinton put in place.
With semi-autos, yeah, he there definitely was a restriction on those, and it became less restrictive. Concealed carry is a big one.
Yeah.
There was
For sure.
there was not concealed carry in the majority of U.S. states until a wave of a push for it happened in the 1990s. Well, excuse me, and one. That's a good example of something that was hotly debated, but it was fought for by gun rights advocates. All of this scare tactics were used to dissuade it from happening. It's going to be a bad problem, and it was successfully implemented, including here in Missouri, and then widely across many states. And we saw a decrease in violent crime and very little problems spurring from more people carrying handguns concealed on their body. So it can happen, and I think it's important to recognize when we make those strides in the Second Amendment and advocacy for gun ownership, and also set the goals. Because if our goal is hope they never do anything to us, but if they do, you know what that means.
That's time.
It just becomes this dark
Almost a meme.
future that I don't want to live in, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not prepared to give up and say America is on its last leg. I hate that argument.
Yeah.
And I see that among Christians do that a lot. This is the end times. And because, oh, look at this bad thing that's happening. And then you see that even politically with people. This is the end of an era with America. We're going to destroy ourselves.
No more democracy.
And neither one of those things are necessarily true. You don't think that they thought during Nazi Germany, the people there thought that was the end of times with how horrible it was? And don't you think that when in the 1970s, when there were riots and people spitting on returning soldiers and burning their draft cards, that we thought America was really divided and maybe on its last leg?
Here we are.
And here we are, and
But
we
now
can't.
it really is.
We can't accept that. And there's a couple of lights at the end of the tunnel, or some positive spots. Texas is doing some things. They're going to.
They're doing some things.
They're attempting to pass permitless carry.
Yeah, I believe they're going to pass it. The governor already said he's going to sign it. It's already passed the Senate, and it's on the way to his office. So I'm pretty sure.
So that's
gonna
happening. So that's.
You think DoorDash is delivering that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
If it's USPS, it's going to be about 4 months before we hear anything.
What about the Suppressor Freedom Act? Do you know the status of that? That's also happening in Texas.
It's the same status. The Senate's already passed it. The governor said he's already going to sign it. He just hasn't received it yet.
I'm going to be interested to see how the federal government takes that. I mean, with if you compare that to cannabis, like Colorado legalized it in the face of the federal government, and now it's been adopted nationwide virtually, and will most likely become law or law of the land as far as deregulating it. Suppressors very well could be.
I think
board
some
with
other
it.
states are going to follow suit for sure.
Yeah, and I think that just strategically, politically, and otherwise, that is a great nut to crack because it's really hard to make the argument that suppressors do anything but make guns safer to use and less likely to be used in an offensive or criminal way.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fair debate. Like, I accept, and I even use the argument that I'd rather suffer the consequences of too much freedom than not enough. I'm that guy too. But when you're convincing other people who don't feel that way, you have to be able and willing to consider the implications of policies that you want to enact. You can't ignore them, and you can't say, well, whatever happens, happens. And suppressors are one of those things. It's very difficult to make the anti-gun argument that those are only going to be used for nefarious purposes. It's easier to make an argument for suppressors than it is for high-capacity magazines, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So start there. It's something that we want as gun owners. Let's go for it. And I think that Trevor's strategy is straight on. So I think this has already happened in some states where they legalized it. The problem is the interstate commerce clause in the Constitution that says if it's traded across state lines, the federal government has jurisdiction. So when they pass these sort of legalization laws, it says, okay, you can do this and it's non-criminal in our state, but that doesn't apply to selling it across state lines, which is true for recreational marijuana. And what that did, though, is it slowly softened the enforcement practices of the federal government because they said, well, we can't just arrest everyone because inside of Colorado it's legal. So then it relaxed a little bit. I think we'll see that with suppressors. If in a cluster of 4 or 5 states they're legal, they're probably going to just not even have the resources to dedicate to looking under every nook and cranny for a potential violation.
Right.
And eventually it'll just become more practical to decriminalize it at the federal level as well.
I concur.
Yeah.
I left this on the desk, and that would not have been good. Don't be irresponsible like me. So this is something I think about often, and I thought about it. I would have been sorely disappointed if I'd been involved in a self-defense encounter, and that is my U.S. Law Shield member card. I sort of go through a mental routine when I put my gun in my holster every morning. I think about what actions would I take in various scenarios? I safely draw and reholster my gun so that I go through that muscle memory. And one of the things I think about is the aftermath. If I am involved in a self-defense situation, part of my game plan is to dial the hotline number on the back of the member card. And U.S. Law Shield is legal defense for your self-defense, which means you'll have a Second Amendment expert attorney come to you wherever you are, whether you're detained or not detained, or you're under investigation for having used your gun in self-defense. And it's not just relegated to guns, it's anything. And you need to be able to pull this card out, dial the number on the back, and have an attorney respond to you. And it should be central to your plan for self-defense. And I know it is mine. And having it on me, if I don't have that number memorized, is an important step that I can't forget again.
We need to make a jingle out of that thing, man.
Well, that number's not public unless you're a member.
Oh,
yeah.
So become a member today. Go to uslawshield.com, click join now, and here's a really important step. You're going to want to use promo code LibertyTree. You're going to get, that's all one word, you're going to get 2 months for free, and you're going to get your rate locked in forever.
It's important.
And that's super important, and you're going to get unlimited legal coverage for your self-defense for less than the cost of Netflix. Go to uslawshield.com. Remember, they're a sponsor of the show. They believe in the Second Amendment, and they want to help preserve it, so they're a great way to protect yourself and support the show. Go to uslawshield.com. Use promo code LibertyTree. Hey, podcast listeners and live stream viewers. I wanted to let you know that the Gun Shop Show is made possible by our friends at Mid-America RV. Being in the customer service industry, I have a really high standard for how customers are treated. Mid-America RV does it right. I've got my RV through their dealership, and I've taken it all over the country. We made it to South Padre Island. We've gone to Colorado several times. And if you've ever owned an RV, you know there's a lot that comes with it. So who you get it from matters, and it's extremely important that you have support after the sale. They're located just outside of Carthage. They have a really vast inventory, and they are home of, I believe they call it a forever warranty. So I urge you, if you're in the market for one, to check them out. It's a really fun and can be very affordable way to get your trips in. So visit them at midamericarv.com. We appreciate their support of the Gun Shop Show. If you're in the market for a travel trailer or fifth wheel, check out Mid-America RV.
Our member's girlfriend is on her way to pick up her kids from her ex-husband's house. She asked our member to tag along because of her ex's temper. As they arrive at the home, her ex emerges yelling and gesturing. He approaches his ex-wife and grabs her, attempting to drag her inside. Fearing for her life, our member, a trained CHL holder, jumps out of the car with his gun drawn and demands the ex-husband release her. Seeing the gun, the assailant retreats. The situation then takes a bizarre turn as the assailant dials 911 to report our member. As a result of the aggressor's lies, our member was wrongfully arrested. Our member had to undergo lengthy legal proceedings. However, he was ultimately cleared of all charges.
Talk about it. What? Yeah. Here we go. 44,000 business cards. I said 44,000 business cards. I said 44,000 business cards. I said 44. Crap. 44,000.
This just in. Huge cave found beneath the heart of the city. Spelunkers shared tales of an underground cavern system in Carthage, Missouri. Locals report the entrance to be at 10th and Garrison.
Cave Gang Pizza. Stop in and enjoy wings, wood-fire pizza made with local ingredients, and our full bar. Bring the whole gang and uncover a legend.
We're Dirt Road Comedy, and when we're not traveling around in our luxurious RV, we like to listen to a gun shop show.
Welcome back. This is the Gun Shop Show, and we've got a great guest lined up today. But before we get into that, I want to remind you that you can win free stuff from your friends in the gun business. And everyone loves free stuff, isn't that right, guys?
I love free stuff.
I love
and
free stuff.
cheese.
And a lot of times we give away guns, we give away ammo, but this time we're giving away something different.
What are we giving away today?
We're giving away your heart's desire.
Oh, whatever you want.
Whatever
huh?
you want with a $50 gift card from
Ooh-wee.
Liberty Tree Guns. That'll let you get
It's hot
anything you
stuff.
want. From libertytreeguns.com, where we have over 50,000 gun-related products, ammunition, accessories, optics, everything that you could need or want, and we can ship it to you anywhere in the United States, or, of course, you can ship it to store for pickup at Liberty Tree Guns. And all you have to do is two simple things. Share the feed
Yeah.
Okay.
and tag 5 of your friends in the comments. Make sure it's friends that would like this kind of stuff. You know, if you got a friend and he's into, let's say,
Kiting.
or mumble rap,
Ooh, mumble rap.
I'm really good at that.
or what are some other things that might indicate someone would not like the Gun Shop Show?
Effervescent baths.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah. Any of those things. If they're into that, don't tag them.
Yeah. They're
Don't
probably
tag
not going to
'em.
like our show.
No. But if they're into, say, grilling,
Yeah. I'd say that's a good indicator.
if they're into grilling, or if every winter in fall they recite to you each time you see them how many rick of wood they got put back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your guy. You
Yeah.
tag him.
Yeah. Anyone you know that's always talking about ricks of wood, not wood from Rick.
Yeah.
You don't want to mix those two up.
No, I made that mistake before. I thought I bought a rick of wood, and I just bought wood from Rick. By the way, firewood delivery people are the sketchiest.
Firearm delivery?
Firewood.
Oh, okay.
delivery.
I was going to say, man, you're in a whole nother business.
No, as a purveyor of an establishment who's dependent upon firewood with a wood fire pizza place.
Oh, yeah.
Cave Gang Pizza.
Yeah, forget about that.
I learned that dealing with people who allegedly sell firewood, you really have to you have to be careful.
Right.
You know, you got to hit them when they need money. This is like if it's Friday and they got their regular paycheck, if they get one, they're not delivering wood. You got to wait till that's about
kind
to
of thing.
run out, and you cannot, under any circumstances, ever pay them any money before the wood is delivered.
Man, a lot of rules to buying wood. Sounds
need-
like it's an
Well,
industry rife
from
with
sketchy people.
You need.
Oh.
They're all sketchy. That's the thing. No,
Well, I know a couple guys.
no,
You
don't.
got guys
know
that
them all.
firewood
Well,
guys?
I know a guy that knows a guy that delivers
Exactly.
wood.
and
I see.
and he seems legit.
2 degrees of separation.
Once you get to know him, it turns out he's not. So, I've
So are you
been there.
vouching for a guy that'll vouch for a guy?
Well, my cousin knows a guy that knows a guy that
So-
has a sister that dates a guy that delivers wood.
What you have to do,
All the people of Circoxy right there.
you have to go
McDowell
pay. You have to go pay enough to put the gas in their tank to get the first couple ricks to you, but no more than that. If you pay them more than enough for gas plus, you never see them again.
Gosh.
It's
Man,
a very delicate thing.
I would say so.
I've become
man.
an expert at it.
I believe you. Maybe you should get in the business of firewood delivery, man. You
There's
freshen it up.
well, see,
You're
here's
not
the,
sketchy enough,
here's the
bro.
catch. Here's the thing. There's why the industry works this way.
Why is that?
There's no money in it.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yes,
there really
you think
is.
with reliability there would be, you
No.
know? If you're the firewood guy. then
There's
you
a
need-
price when people stop buying it, and that's the trouble. Yeah. And so it just really self-regulates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You about got to have a chronic substance abuse problem before you will deliver firewood reliably.
Check.
All except for
Check.
Max. We had Mr. Max, and for the first year we were open, he was 82 years old.
Oh my
And
gosh.
he would drive by in the morning, check our supply, go out, bring the wood, deliver it, stack it, was honest about the amount. One time a tree fell on him. He was 82 years old.
Wow.
Cutting
He
firewood.
cut himself away out of it.
And I thought, well, that's the last time we ever see Max, right? Like, that's the beginning of the end for any 82-year-old man.
Mm-hmm.
Gave him like 3 weeks.
Cut himself out of that tree. And
He's back delivering wood.
Nice,
Yep,
man.
He finally retired.
Well, it's crazy to think it'd take you 82 years to finally get your firewood business squared away, but good for him.
It's funny because he said, I just can't do this forever. And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I respect that decision. You're 82. He's like, I'll only deliver to churches. So he kept doing it.
Oh, iced you out, huh?
Only for churches. I'm like, I can't respect you any more than I do. So we're square.
What is that called whenever you go ordained? Bro, just get ordained.
Yeah,
Done.
That's how bad I needed firewood. I thought about
Church
it.
of the Wood Fire Pizza.
I thought about it.
If he was any younger, he would have sued you for workman's comp claim.
Oh, that's true. That's true. You're hearing the voice of our great guest, JT Hardin, even though that Trevor put him down as TJ Hardin.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
God. I can't believe I did
It's
that.
better than BJ Hardin. Let's just go there.
I'll fix that real quick, guys.
That's president of F3 Media. So you do a lot of things. I'm probably going to do an oversimplification, but you produce things that brands need, whether it's video, photography, whether it's the know-how to hype something. Because so many companies, and I see this in our industry, which you serve, have a good product, and they really suck at explaining that. So you help them do that, and we've got some clips of some of the things you do. But give us a quick intro before we head into the break. Just what it is you do for a living.
You kind of hit the nail on the head. We build brands. We help a brand get exposure, help build the brand, get the recognition, get the product name out there, and basically enlighten the consumer. I mean, it's all about education of their product. How can we showcase their product and let the consumer know, hey, this is a great product, this is a great deal, this is a great brand, and fall and become brand loyal. I mean, the hardest thing in the industry or any world now is loyalty. People are brand hopping constantly, looking for the better deal, with Amazon, Walmart, big box stores. It's just getting tougher and tougher.
And what's really important, I think, from the outside looking in is you can list specs all day long, and it's important. Some consumers need to know exactly what it'll do, but at the end of the day, what you do so well is you tell the story. You paint a picture of what it would be like to be in a situation where you need to use this product and what that looks and feels like. And so the video work is just phenomenal. I mean,
Thank you. Yeah, our team of guys is really, really good. They've been doing this for a long time. They're all outdoorsmen, shooters, hunters. I mean, military. There's a little bit of everything, and so it's just what you said. It's showcasing how the product works, in a real life scenario. Whether you're out in the field or you're, busting down doors in Iraq, we want to be able to show them that product uses and that they can trust it and see all the features quickly, because the attention span of people right now is very short
and getting shorter.
Yep.
Yes.
You have 3 seconds. I tell anybody, the first 3 seconds, you better be on it or you're off.
That's right. So we're coming up on a break, and we'll explain just exactly how that works and why it's so important that you as the owner and the people that work for you use and are the kind of guys that would use the products that you generally promote. So when we get back, we'll have more with JT Hardin on The Gun Shop Show. Hey everyone, The Gun Shop Show is brought to you by Carthage Lock and Key. If you need anything to do with a lock or a key
to success.
Did they tell you to say that?
No, I just thought it sounded good.
They have a mobile service, so they can come to you and cut pretty much any kind of key
to success.
Or if you lock your keys in your
to
car.
Success.
I'm talking even security modern chip keys.
To success.
Trevor, could you just jingle the name of the business?
Okay. Yeah, I'll do it good this time.
So with all of my properties and all of the needs I have, I trust
Carthage lock and key to success.
My name is Chris Anderson. I'm a captain with the San Antonio Police Department. I've been with my agency 27 years. My whole career in law enforcement has been spent with the San Antonio Police Department. I started off as a patrol officer like all others do, patrolling the streets of San Antonio. About 3 years after I was on the department, I made the SWAT team, and I stayed in tactical special operations by virtue of SWAT, the gang units, street crime arrest teams, tactical response units, all types of things in that particular forte until I started to make rank. And I've been a captain for 11 years now, and I've been involved in everything from Homeland Security to patrol operations to the night commander's job, special operations, and now I'm the commander of the Special Investigations Unit. Police officer's job at the scene of a crime is simply to protect the people who are there, prevent further injury or death, preserve physical and testimonial evidence, collect it, and deliver it for processing in a criminal case. We do not determine guilt or innocence at a scene, and it's an important role in our job to remain as neutral and unattached from feelings of guilt or innocence as we can. About 90% of the people that we interact with on the streets at any given time are good, solid citizens who are trying to abide by all the laws that they know. Typically, when they interact with a police officer, it's because they violated something in the things that they don't know. And the Texas Penal Code book and Code of Criminal Procedures, local government laws, family codes, and a variety of other things are in a book that's about 8 inches thick. Most police officers don't know most of the information in it, and naturally that would tend to lead you to understand that most citizens definitely wouldn't know them all. So most of the interactions that police officers in Texas have with normal citizens is involving a law that those folks don't even know exists. Many times, and especially depending upon the level of experience that they have with the job, the speed by which they determine who's an actual suspect and who just may be a person of interest as a witness or possibly a victim is hard to determine initially. Factors that they're aware of at the scene, it all depends on those things to determine whether someone's telling the truth or not. There are obvious cases when someone's trying to deceive us, and there are people who are very good at deceiving the police. At that point, we may take a lot of people into what we term an investigative custody, or make an investigative detention on them for the purpose of determining who the actual suspects, victims, and witnesses might be. And our goal at that time is to legally arrest and take into custody the persons responsible for the crime.
Hey everybody, Eli here, and I'm really excited to tell you that the Gun Shop Show is brought to you by one of my favorite places on earth. Located here in my hometown of Carthage on the beautiful historic square, the Emporium on the square, and the Woodshed. It's a art gallery, an event center, a gift shop. They have art classes, and there's very unique Americana artwork from famous artists like Andy Thomas. They handle a lot of his original framing. Just has this incredible old school vibe, and you can feel the history coming through. Have to check out the art gallery, but then as you work your way to the back, my favorite part, the Woodshed, had a lot of great meals in here. They've got burgers. I love their catfish. Excellent. Chicken and waffles even. It's incredible. And it's also a music venue, so we got to see my favorite band of all time, the Ben Miller Band. Ceiling was literally raining down. They were rocking so hard. But the best thing, owned by one of my favorite people on earth, that's Cherry Babcock. Check out the Emporium on the Square and the Woodshed.
We are back. We are your friends in the gun business, and we're here doing our thing, which is selling guns and related items, which you can get for free if you share the feed, tag 5 of your friends. You're hearing the Gun Shop Show coming to you from Carthage, Missouri, from the best little gun shop in the world. And we're joined by J.T. Hardin of F3 Media, and we were talking about his production company, which does a lot of things to help build brands, but to try to simplify, and probably overly simplify what he does. He produces video, high quality video content, still photography, things that paint the picture for a brand. And I certainly don't have the expertise that he has, but I do have a little bit of insight because I track these things in our industry. And one of the things that makes JT so effective is that he is for real in this space, whether being a fisherman or a hunter or a gun owner. And so there's a lot of people who make video and photography content and have agencies that do that. What it seems is though you have carved out a niche for industries that really sometimes struggle to interact with other agencies that don't get it, because a lot of them are more urban. You know, they come from bigger cities where these types of products are not as prevalent. So that's really given you, I would think, from a business angle, quite the edge and leverage.
Yeah, I mean, you can spot a fake a mile away. You know, we've all said that. Military, you guys having this is my hometown too, so coming in here, I know you guys get stolen valor veterans all the time saying they're blah, 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 and you can see through it a mile away. And it's kind of the same thing in the industry when you got people that they don't speak to the consumer because they're not speaking the right language, and so when you've got that authentic, video or photography or something, you can pick it apart. I mean, even today's world, some of the biggest, and I think it's Prudential Insurance or something, they've got a video out and they have a red stag. Yeah, or it's actually an elk, but it roars like a red stag, even though it's an elk, which should bugle. Just things like that aren't caught by monster agencies that are putting this on national television, and it's wrong.
Right, yeah, they're not resonating with their target audience at all.
And you guys know it. You're so good at your social media. You know your audience. You know your target. And that's what a lot of these big brands, I mean, they'll come to us saying, hey, listen, we know what we want. We just don't know how to do it or how to implement it. How can we struggle with YouTube or we struggle with Facebook or social media. So how can we resonate and get that consumer with the education of trusting us? Because a lot of the big brands out there, you might get an agency from New York City or LA or something like that, they're not around guns the way we are. They're not around the outdoors the way they are. So we speak the language because every one of my guys is a diehard outdoorsman and shooter.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you can't just get in the ballpark with your message. You have to get it just right. And we've experimented with that. We've had many offers of people to assist with social media or produce things for us, and they don't realize, and I think it's even more specific to this arena where people are really particular, you can't tell me, we had a person helping for a little while who was making some posts about used firearms, and they weren't way off, but they would say something like, this really packs a punch, and it wasn't really true. It was like a micro pistol.
22, yeah.
That wasn't the appeal of the gun, and you could promote that gun and truthfully talk about its appeal and reel someone in, but the second you say something that they know is not true, not only does it undermine the validity of that one post, it makes the consumer start thinking, well, are these guys for real or are they just phoning it in? It's almost like when you see some products and things on Amazon where it's clearly written by a second language Chinese person who doesn't even really know what the product is. It's like smooth action, quick deploy, and it's like none of it even makes sense for a laundry basket.
It's pigeon English. Like you're talking to somebody that doesn't speak English. You always slow down, and that's how the words are typed. Like, you, me, go here now. No, that's not how you say it. Let's go here. It's those things, and it's everywhere. It's on Amazon. It's on all the websites and things like that. And so you really have to be conscientious of that because we can be wordy sometimes. My latest hire was Kevin Neuendorf. He lives out in Colorado, and he came from USA Shooting. He was on the Olympic shooting background. He managed all the team. He did all that kind of stuff. So in the shooting world, he can get a little wordy sometimes when I'm like, hey, if it's a post about, something that we really need to be technical, it's great. But if it's a post about to a hunter, then we have to step back because hunters aren't as, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to say less educated as a shooter, but a shooter's passion is shooting.
Yeah.
A hunter wants to buy a couple of guns and goes out and hunts.
It's
two different consumers.
It's absolutely different. So the most interesting and probably successful outdoorsman that I spent time around, I used to work with at the police department, and the guy had killed so many deer in his lifetime, but that's just, he was for real, and he was a hunter. And if I had not witnessed it for myself, I wouldn't have believed it. But the guy killed 5 does. This is up in a region of Missouri where they have unlimited does, with a single shot H&R in 280. And he barely knew, I'm not joking, he barely knew the caliber. Like, he had to go look on the barrel of his gun to buy ammo, and he always just barely had enough. Like, a couple days before season, he had to roll in, look at the barrel of his gun, maybe go find the box so he could remember the grain, which is totally different. We have guys and gun buyers and collectors. Some of them are prolific shooters, meaning they're taking their guns out and they're really putting them through the paces. Some of them just love guns for their appeal and their features, and they buy them. They don't even shoot them that much, but they could recite everything about them, why they felt compelled to buy one. And those are two entirely different guys. And so when you're selling to that hunter, you can't list off all the specs and what makes it different. You have to just sell, this is the thing that needs to be in your hands, and it almost have to thread that needle of feeling rather than technical.
Because the hunter needs to know it's lightweight, it's durable, it's going to last a long time, it's easy to use. Boom, that's it. Yep. That's what you want to do. Yeah. But to the ballistics guy, that he needs to know that at 1,000 yards, I can shoot a 3-inch group. I can put this scope on it and that kind of stuff. Because we're working with a gun case company, and we're working on hunting cases and shooting cases. So we're talking to two totally different audiences, because the hunting guy, which is myself, and I consider myself a shooter, but I'm not a shooter like I used to be, Right. So I'm throwing my gun in a case just to throw it in the back of my truck. I need to know it's going to get there. My scope's not off. I'm good to go. But a shooter, he wants a hard case, wheels. He wants to pack his ammo. He wants to do all of his. He's got to have his glasses. He's got to have his headphones, all the hearing protection, all that kind of stuff in there. So you're talking two totally different consumers, because this guy's going to spend $500 on a case. This guy's going to spend $80.
Yeah, and it makes all the difference. And it's really funny because as a retailer, it was hard to fathom, because I didn't know a lot of those $500 case guys at first. So I would bring in everything from the $16 hard case to, like, you get me into a $150 one, I'm like trying to picture who the dude is that buys a $150 gun case. But over time, I realized there's guys that come and look over every case up to $200, and they're like, nah, none of these are good enough. And it wasn't until I just took a gamble, and the first few ones are accidents. I accidentally ordered something, it was super high end, and then it sold, and I looked at, man, it takes the same amount of space and time to sell a $500 case as it does an $80 one. When we get back, we'll show some examples of the storytelling and the great production work of F3 Media right here on the Gun Shop Show.
Land is everything to me. When I was born, I was brought home to the family farm, was raised, learned work ethic there, learned appreciation and respect for life and the land itself, and it just became second nature. I had to be there all the time. Whenever I wasn't on the land, I was not happy. But I learned to understand the land, learned to respect it, learned family values. My wife and I have bought a farm besides the one we live on, and it has just been it's been a great investment, and it's been someplace that my son and I have shared the passion of hunting together, and it's just land has been everything in my life. It has kind of kept me focused and gave me a place to be. It's kind of kept me grounded.
Hey, you know what makes this, the Gun Shop Show, possible? It's people who believe in the show. And someone who has believed in the show from the very beginning is my good friend Chris Chapman, owner of Whitehead Farm Supply. Here's a message from Chris.
Guys, my name's Chris Chapman, owner of Whitehead Farm Supply, and I just want to take a few seconds here to let you know that we are going to be proud sponsors of the Gun Shop Show, and we appreciate everything that them guys are doing over there, and we just want to show them our support. Thank you.
So whether you have 2 chickens or 2,000 acres, Chris is your man. Give him a call. I guess that's pretty much the ad.
Whitehead Farm Supply.
Seriously?
Always.
I'm Lulu, and I watch the Gun Shop Show because all the fellers are handsome.
Welcome back to the Gun Shop Show. We're joined by JT Hardin of F3 Media. Let's just get straight into some of the stuff you've done. You sent us a few clips. Where would you like us to start?
It doesn't matter. That Sonic Boom one's that's a fun one because everybody loves to blow stuff up.
So you've seen it in yeah, you've seen it in our store before. This is a binary target, a target that you can mix together 2 shelf-stable components, shake them up. They're still not explosive on their own. You can't, set them off with pretty much anything but a bullet traveling at a certain speed. And so this is to storytell why someone would want to shoot at this product. Go ahead and roll that for us, Trevor. For the radio listener. Got shooters out in the mountains. So I know that for the audio-only listener, you didn't get to appreciate that. That was designed for obviously, video. If you're watching the live stream or you're seeing this on KODE 12, but what that does is it doesn't just say, "Hey, shoot this and it'll blow up." It says, "Look how good of a time you would have doing this. Look how it's not one of the 7 words, right, Trevor?
What's that?
If I say badass."
Oh,
no, I don't think
I'll check on that.
Yeah, could you look it up? Because we might need to bleep that. So that tells a story. There's a video that includes all the 7 words. There's 7 words you can't say according to the FCC, and I'm pretty sure.
No, we're good, dude. That one's not on there.
That one's good.
And last time we took we were pretty gentle about it, and we took the British route.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we said arse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Played it safe.
So that's what it does. And pardon my use of that word, but that's the picture that you wanted to paint. And I think even anybody that watches that, you could be the most conservative old lady with curlers in her hair, and she watches that video and she's like,
I want to blow stuff up.
That would be badass. I'm not gonna lie. And so
that's why we did it in the mountains. So
yeah, so you could run out here to a plowed field in Southwest Missouri, and it wouldn't have painted the epicness of the mountains in the background. And so that's what those brands are getting is. Sometimes they may come to you and say, we want it in the mountains. But sometimes you probably, I assume, I'm making an assumption, you say, no. If you want to tell this story it's going to cost a little more because we're going to have to go on site or whatever. But
and using models and people like that, depending, shooters, I mean, stuff like that. Because you want a guy that's, if we're going to put it out there at 100 yards, you want a guy that's going to hit the target.
Right. Could waste a lot of time.
And so, we did the first one in Missouri. We did Wyoming. We've done Utah now. So we've picked different scenarios to kind of show people. And you hit the nail on the head. Everybody's like, well, it's an explosive. No, you have to shoot a bullet 1,500 feet per second to explode it. You can mix it up, throw it in your car, and keep it in there for 6 months, and it's not going to be explosive. Right. And anybody can walk in and buy that, off your shelf here at Liberty Tree. And it's fun. It's a great way to introduce new shooters, especially. You take somebody that's never shot something before and you go out and they blow something up and they feel like, whoa, that was cool.
Yeah, exactly. It really, it does a more honest job of showing the power of a firearm than what, you take a new shooter out who's really borderline. Maybe they don't even think they're going to like it. They think it's going to be too loud. The recoil is going to be too much. And you punch a hole in paper, they could very easily say, I was right. That wasn't for me. But as soon as they get to see that power, and an explosion is something that we all only typically see in movies. Like, you don't get to firsthand witness a big mushroom cloud of smoke and fire. And to do that is really fun. Mm-hmm. And so that does a great job of painting that picture, something that you couldn't do. That's probably why I'm guessing Sonic Boom doesn't run radio ads, because you need to see that. Yep. You can't just go, trust me, when you shoot this, it'll be awesome.
You're like, listen to this. Boom. and
$29.95. Even those storytellers get it until you really shoot one and you actually feel it, because you can just, that big bass of that thump, you guys have shot them before.
Yeah.
It's just, it's like, oh yeah, that's awesome.
And that's even one thing that is difficult to capture on audio. Even with the best equipment, you can't replicate that. Someone watches that video on their phone, they're not going to feel that. So you have to show the shock waves. You got to show it in full speed. You got to show it slow. So they you do the best you can without actually being there of creating that feeling. One of the other things that's really impressive and story tells in a way that I don't think any other medium is your graphics guy. So you have a guy that can create a visual that doesn't even exist in real life, but it paints a picture. And that is really well shown in that DRT ad. So tell us a little bit before we roll this. What is this brand of ammunition? Even tell us a little story about how they got a hold of you and how that worked out.
Yeah, there was another PR agency that was working for them, and they wanted some press release, and they wanted to get some things out to show that it's a fragmenting bullet. So basically, that bullet is meant to, like if you're in a hostage situation, and they shoot somebody, that bullet is supposed to fragment, stay in that body of that person, not penetrate all the way through and hurt somebody else. If you're shooting a high-powered rifle or you have a sniper, chances are, and he shoots the person, it's going to go through and keep on going. We all know that. So this bullet, and they were introducing it to the hunting world. So you could shoot a deer with it, and that bullet would stay inside, cause damage, and the deer would go down a lot faster. A bigger blood trail and stuff. So Kevin is our graphics animator, and it's mind-blowing to me to sit and watch how tedious that work is, because I can't do it. I mean, I tell people there all the time, oh, man, you're so talented. I said, no, I'm just the guy smart enough to hire the right people that are talented. Because it's so moving one pixel at a time, or, just the stuff that they can do. And when I hired him, I was like, hey, what can you do? He's like, if you can think it, I can do it. And I'm like, ooh, I can think of some really and he's done everything, and it's mind-blowing. And it really sets our company apart from other companies because of his talents and what we can do. Because you take our photographers and videographers, and then you mix in Kevin's graphics, and now we just have a complete package to show brands that, hey, here's what we can do. So in this video, you see we animated a 3D target, and then we shot it in ballistic gel, so you can really see what real life is versus the animation.
Well, and one of the things that I think is just to set up how hard of a hurdle it is from a marketing aspect. We have been putting lead in bullets for several hundred years. Like, it's the only way, it's the only projectile, and it's trusted. And there's really, unless you can show me We're from the show me state. Why we need to change this up now? You're not going to get that sale. You can say it does this and does that until you show me the results and how those results are achieved. I'm never going to give it a second thought. And here's how your video did that. Go ahead and roll that, Trevor.
In a time when ammo can be more expensive than your gun, you got to make every shot count. DRT is about technology. It's about ethical, quick-killing, jacketed, lead-free, penetrating, compressed metal cores that blow through bone and muscle before unleashing its innards like a grenade. Owning a gun isn't a luxury, it's a way of life. It's your right. So why use ammo that's not going to get the job done? The ammo game has officially changed. It ain't just about branding and how many times it's seen by those so-called professional hunters. It's about performance and sheer knockdown power. It's about technology that no other ammo has ever used before. It's a lead-free compressed metal core powder that explodes like a grenade upon contact. This is guaranteed backstrap on your plate, stop them in their tracks, no tracking or trailing, don't you move ammo. All in one beautiful high-tech brass package. Say howdy to the all-new DRT line of ammunition. It's not your grandpa's ammo, it's DRT ammo.
See, and even more than the graphics, I think the VO is, that's one of the best VOs we've ever written.
So I was going to say, it's the copy here. Yep. Because you have this serious voice, but then he says ain't, you know, which really makes it approachable. Because one of the things I have sometimes, especially with our industry, is it taking itself a little too serious.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, this is the best, and if you don't recognize it, you're a noob.
And you're worried about the anti-hunters, you're worried about the anti-gun activists and stuff. Sometimes you just got to be real to the people we want to be real to.
Right. Yeah. This is knockdown, backstrap. You're going to eat it. You're going to take it home tonight. So
bone crushing.
Yeah. So the other thing for the audio only listener, the thing that I wanted to showcase was the animation. So you've got a real video of a hunter, and he's got his rifle up, and he squeezes the trigger, and then almost with no transition, it fades into this animation of the bullet traveling through the air, and then you see the deer in a way that you couldn't in real life. You see the meat, you see the bones, you see this projectile penetrating that, and when we get back from the break, I'll finish telling what that looked like on the Gun Shop Show.
Hey, podcast listeners and live stream viewers. I wanted to let you know that the Gun Shop Show is made possible by our friends at Mid-America RV. Being in the customer service industry, I have a really high standard for how customers are treated. Mid-America RV does it right. I've got my RV through their dealership, and I've taken it all over the country. We made it to South Padre Island. We've gone to Colorado several times. And if you've ever owned an RV, you know there's a lot that comes with it. So who you get it from matters, and it's extremely important that you have support after the sale. They're located just outside of Carthage. They have a really vast inventory, and they are home of, I believe they call it a forever warranty. So I urge you, if you're in the market for one, to check them out. It's a really fun and can be very affordable way to get your trips in. So visit them at midamericarv.com. We appreciate their support of the Gun Shop Show. If you're in the market for a travel trailer or fifth wheel, check out Mid-America RV.
Hey members, thank you again for joining us today. I have spent a lot of time talking to several of our independent program attorneys who have all given me the same great practical advice on what to do if you ever have to display or use your firearm to stop a threat. Always make sure you call 911 to report that you were almost a victim of a crime. Why? Because if you don't, there is a very high likelihood that the bad guy will call 911 and report you as the criminal. This exact scenario is illustrated by the story of Scott, one of our members from Colorado. This is what happened. Scott was exiting the supermarket when he was verbally assaulted by two individuals who were looking for an altercation. The verbal assault became so heated that our member was afraid for his life. Scott was forced to defuse this potential deadly threat by displaying his firearm and demanding to be left alone. Being the cowards that they were, the bad guys backed away. Our member, however, made a critical mistake, thinking the situation was over, and drove off. It was only a few blocks away. Scott was pulled over, handcuffed, and taken into custody. How in the world did this happen? Well, the answer is simple. The bad guys called 911 first and reported Scott as the aggressor. The lesson here is criminals lie. Scott was the victim of the crime and was charged with disorderly conduct, and only after a lengthy legal process, all charges were dismissed. Since Scott is a member of U.S. Law Shield, he ended up paying 0 attorney's fees. Unfortunately, this ordeal still disrupted his life. Members, please do not let this happen to you. Thank you, Scott, for sharing your story with us. Members, if you have a great story relating to owning a firearm or how your U.S. Law Shield membership has benefited you, we want to hear about it. Share your story at memberstories@uslawshield.com, and maybe we will include it in our next newsletter.
People are always asking me, Eli, you seem to get the best deals on things. What is your secret?
Glory actions and estate sales.
Trevor, I appreciate you jingling, but I have to say the ad part first because people need to know about the company.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to do it.
And then also, it's it's covering up my face. So
right.
just get a picture like from their Facebook page, because that's the best place, and then just put it right up here where the Gun Shop Show logo is. Okay.
All right. I'll do better this
and
time.
then and so let me finish the ad, and then you can jingle. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the best place to go is their Facebook page.
Oh, glory actions and estate sales.
You know what? Fine. I'll just move in between the graphics and finish telling people that the best place to find out when
old glory actions and estate sales. I think I got it that time, man.
Our member is involved in a brief road rage incident. One driver cuts off another in traffic, and harsh words and gestures soon follow. After the pleasantries are exchanged, our driver goes on his way, assuming the incident is over. However, still agitated, the other driver calls 911 and reports our member as aggressive, possibly having seen a weapon in his hand. In reality, what he saw was our member flipping him the bird. In an incident that can only be described as an overreaction by officers, our member is pulled over. When officers learn that he carries a legal concealed firearm, they arrest him despite a lack of evidence. This incident is just one of numerous member experiences. Be aware when traveling with a firearm. Any aggressive actions made by you, right or wrong, can land you in jail. Don't let it happen to you.
Buckle up, because belts just got better. With Core Essentials, the perfect fit every time. With 40-plus sizing positions. Styles for any situation. Whether in the boardroom, crushing sales and taking names, on your next adventure, in the great outdoors, or when you're done for the day and ready to relax. Get your perfect fit with Core Essentials.
In order to sponsor the Gun Shop Show, send us an email at thegunshopshow@gmail.com.
Hey there. We got your lab results back. It looks like you have a fever, and the only prescription is more Gun Shop Show.
The Gun Shop Show, the Gun Shop Show. What is it? We don't know. The Gun Shop Show, the Gun Shop Show. Here we go, it's the Gun Shop Show.
That was the longest sip ever.
Mhm.
I started the sip cam action and then realized it was a full intro.
But hey, man, you were committed to it and you followed through on it.
I can sip like no one's business.
It's impressive, man. Very few people know this about you.
No, I mean, it's a totally unnecessary skill unless you happen to have a podcast where you accidentally started a tradition of getting caught on the camera sipping water. So, if anybody happens to be in that situation, I am offering training. You can follow me on Patreon for.
You're gonna want to get training. I try to replicate it and almost drown.
Are you at Sip Superstar? Is that you?
Wake me up when September ends.
I like how you put that spin on it. You went Green Day on us.
Yeah.
Is that you singing the song?
Yeah, that's my Green Day impression.
I want to see you at karaoke.
I just do part of one syllable. That's how you nail an impression.
Yeah, it just takes a little piece.
Don't give
like
time.
Those documents you got there.
Documents. We cracked the code on Christopher Walken, by the way.
I noticed that. I actually knew that without you saying that.
Wow.
So that was that good.
at this.
The secret is the word documents.
It's easy.
I was trying to do different words, and a lot of them were not sounding like Christopher Walken.
Have you heard the story of Foo Fighter or him being on SNL with the Foo Fighters? He asked him if the emphasis was on Foo or Fighters. And I think they told him that it was on Fighters. So he's like, Foo Fighters. It's the Foo Fighters.
Oh, yeah. Was he announcing them?
Yeah.
He was the host? Oh, that's too funny.
Awesome.
Would you like to win?
Yeah.
Heck
$50 gift card. You could buy
Sounds
some
good to
Sonic
me.
Boom with it. You could buy some DRT ammo from libertytreeguns.com. We're joined by JT Hardin of F3 Media, and when we went into the break, I was describing that animation. So what your guys did was create a deer. And of course, it probably is modeled after a photograph initially, but then it's totally recreated from scratch so that you have the skin, the rib cage is defined, so it's almost hard to describe. It's like a cross-cut view of a deer, and it's got the organs showing through. You've got it shown in one point with no skin, so that you see this is what is going to happen when this product impacts the animal. So
that's we refer to that as the Silence of the Lambs shot.
Impressive intestines down there, by the way.
And what this is doing, and I think it's so crucial, is it is reminding you, even though you know this as a hunter, when your projectile hits, it may strike bone first. It may not hit straight into the organ. So this is showing then what happens to the bone. I can't imagine the work that it takes to generate a deer, then put all of the bones in the right place anatomically. I think that's the right word. And then show what a bone does, fragmenting on all these pieces, then what happens with the rest of the projectile as it enters the organ. That is all something that we kind of all know happens, but we never get to see it in this way. Not even ballistics gel. You could do a slow-mo video of shooting a live deer, and you would not get the visual of what happens with this. So your guys were able to make that. Tell us a little bit about what that skill is, what it's called, and how you can leverage that for your clients.
It's called Kevin.
Sounds very official.
No, it's sitting down and coming up with the concept, because earlier in the other segment you said that the best thing is that you can explain something to a guy, but if you're not a hunter, you're never going to cut organs open to see what the actual bullet did. So if I'm a shooter and I'm buying this for a SWAT team or I'm doing something, I want to actually know what it's doing, without a human being, or a bad guy, whatever. But so you have to actually sit down and describe that. And what it is, during the research that you're shooting, animals or stuff like that they've tested, and they've, cut them open and did the research. And then it's our job to sit there and go, okay, here's how we can do that and tell the story with the VO and the graphics. And it's a very tedious process to animate 3D animation of anything. Because you've got to spin it. It's hours and hours of sitting there and doing the tedious works. I mean, you see when that bullet fragments and breaks the bone, and then I don't know if you really noticed it, but in that close up, when he shoots it, you actually see the color change on, like almost like a dust cloud inside there. It's just that little tedious thing that sets it apart, and that we pride ourselves on really paying attention to the detail of making this, the best we can to replicate what real life would be.
It's the tiny little things like that really do make a difference. And it's hard to convince folks of that, but adding that little touch here, little touch there really makes a difference. What I want to mention that I'm really impressed with is the amount of detail that went into making this spray of ammunition. Because I know I've done some of this stuff. I know that's not easy. I know that's a lot of time just in that one element alone.
Correct.
Impressive.
And that's what we try to do for our clients. We want them to, if they're paying us the money, we want to go above and beyond. I'm from the old under promise, over deliver. I'm from that old school realm of doing that. I don't want to overcharge somebody and then we go, well, that's not at all what we wanted. We want to pride ourselves on showing that, whether it's this ballistic bill or take a scope, you take a Vortex scope or something and you don't know what's inside that scope.
Yeah.
I mean, a guy just knows that he can turn that to 9 power and he can turn this and turn that and adjust it. But we take it apart and show them the inside of that. They're like, oh, okay, now I got mirrors. Now I got, they understand the lenses and everything.
And I think what's also interesting about that is I'm sure that when you deal with a manufacturer and probably a representative who is an engineer and he was involved in creating this thing, they go so far the other way. They know how it's made, and they think the talking point is, now first we started with a copper bicarbonate, and they think that they're going to make the ad about how genius it was for them to come up with the formulation, and you have to stop them and say, look, the formulation matters a little bit. But all we need to do is show the projectile, and since we're mentioning that it's made up of this compressed material, we'll rain that down. So now they got the visual of this was a powder, and here's what it looked like before we did our thing, which is compress it into this awesome bullet. And that's all they need to know. They don't need to know the chemistry. They don't need to know how hard you worked on it.
You can't overeducate. You've got to step back. Like we said, there's guys that they don't need to know all that stuff.
Yeah, I see it in marketing a lot. Like a guy that owns a company that uses equipment, he'll want to make his commercial about the model of stump grinder he had with our such and such whatever, because he knows that's what makes his business more efficient than the next guy. But to the lady that just has a stump in her yard, she wants to know you breeze in, you breeze out, you don't leave a mess, and your price is fair. And
show me a before, during, and after. That's what she wants to see. The cleanup is gone.
She doesn't need to know a model number of your stump grinder, and you, as the advertising agency, have to be able to step in, see the value of what the client has to offer, and see it through the lens of the customer, and build that bridge between the two, and that's what you do so excellently.
Thank you.
What else is, so I think do we have more, or is that it?
Yeah, we have another one here.
Let's roll one more, and then we'll get into what you have on the horizon.
I think this one really showcases a lot of the graphics that we've done, from logo animation to a little bit of everything.
So this is Steiner Optics, right?
Oh, no, okay, you got the Steiner one, yep.
This optic spinning on the table, and then
pulling out the features.
Yeah.
And which button does what, explaining it. This one's a more of an educational video.
And it's one thing to, if you were to just put a list next to that optic, it has this button and this switch, it's almost completely useless. But when you say, here's this little compact package, and for me as the user, what I'm going to reach up and hit is right here, and you're showing with a line of the title right down to this is the button you're going to hit to achieve this thing, and this is the lens, and here's why this type of lens matters to you as the consumer, and it's all just packagizing that. Let's roll. Do we have one more?
I think that's all that I got.
Yeah, it might have been. I don't think I sent you the full graphics reel because it's got fishing and hunting and all that kind of stuff in there. So, but you hit the nail on the head there, because we all know that the consumers have no patience for anything right now, attention span. So you've got to grasp them. My advice to anybody else building brands, you guys, everybody else, is when you build something, if you're wanting it on social media, do not put your logo in the first 10 seconds. Don't put it this big, awesome animation, anything else. Get right to the meat of the bones. If you're going to show an elk hunt, show me a big bull bugling. If you're going to show me a sonic boom, show me exploding target in the first 3 seconds of that video, and then come in with your awesome intro and stuff like that. Because when everybody's doing this, they're scrolling. Mm-hmm. You want them to stop, see something, and go, okay, I'm going to watch this whole video. And if they see a 6, 7, 8 second logo, they're gone.
That's I just recently tried to explain this to a close friend of mine. Do you remember that, Trevor?
Are you talking to me?
We had this exact conversation because I said, the problem is, yes, you might have their eyeballs in the first 3 seconds and they may see your logo, but it doesn't mean anything to them yet.
Nope.
It can, and it can mean something by the end of your one video, and therefore have the accomplish what it is that you want, but you've got to sell them on, hey, spend your next 20 seconds with me, spend your next 30, 45 seconds. You got to reel them in. We'll be right back on the Gun Shop Show.
I'm your close friend, dude.
Of course.
Hey everyone, the Gun Shop Show is brought to you by Carthage Lock and Key. If you need anything to do with a lock or a key
to success.
Did they tell you to say that?
No, I just thought it sounded good.
They have a mobile service, so they can come to you and cut pretty much any kind of key
to success.
Or if you lock your keys in your
to
car.
Success.
I'm talking even security modern chip keys.
To success.
Trevor, could you just jingle the name of the business?
Okay. Yeah, I'll do it good this time.
So, with all of my properties and all of the needs I have, I trust
Carthage Lock and Key to success.
Talk about it. What? Yeah. Here we go. 44,000 business cards. I said 44,000 business cards. I said 44,000 business cards. I said 44. Crap. 44,000.
Hey everybody, Eli here, and I'm really excited to tell you that the Gun Shop Show is brought to you by one of my favorite places on earth. Located here in my hometown of Carthage on the beautiful historic square, the Emporium on the square, and the Woodshed. It's a art gallery, an event center, a gift shop. They have art classes, and there's very unique Americana artwork from famous artists like Andy Thomas. They handle a lot of his original framing. Just has this incredible old school vibe, and you can feel the history coming through. Have to check out the art gallery, but then as you work your way to the back, my favorite part, the Woodshed. Had a lot of great meals in here. They've got burgers. I love their catfish. Excellent. Chicken and waffles even. It's incredible. And it's also a music venue, so we got to see my favorite band of all time, the Ben Miller Band. Ceiling was literally raining down. They were rocking so hard. But the best thing, owned by one of my favorite people on earth, that's Cherry Babcock. Check out the Emporium on the Square and the Woodshed.
This just in. Huge cave found beneath the heart of the city. Spelunkers shared tales of an underground cavern system in Carthage, Missouri. Locals report the entrance to be at 10th and Garrison.
Cave Gang Pizza. Stop in and enjoy wings, wood-fire pizza made with local ingredients, and our full bar. Bring the whole gang and uncover a legend.
Listen here, Pilgrim. This here is the Gun Shop Show.
Welcome back to the Gun Shop Show. We're here with JT Hardin of F3 Media. And before the break, we were talking about you have a finite amount of time to capture the attention of your customer base. And that's one of the things that we have struggled with at times with a 2-hour show that a lot of people consume on Facebook. But it's not very often that they stumble upon it and then watch it for 2 hours. So if they stumble upon a really great moment, then they become aware of the show, and then it takes this journey to becoming, okay, I want to plan my life around listening and consuming this one thing. But for a brand that you're helping with, we want to make them aware of the product and then hopefully have them form an opinion about the product based on that delivery. And we've just got a second or two to do that. You were talking about the analytics of Facebook, and I'm not sure, did we cover any of that on air of how, no, okay, that was during the break.
Yeah.
So get into that again. Facebook kind of tracks that and how that plays a factor when you create something for social media.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows that video is king right now in all advertising. I mean, you have great photography and stuff like that, but video is king. So it's all about the eyeballs of getting them. So it's like everything is gauged in that first 3 seconds. So when you're sitting there scrolling through, you want that guy to stop and pause and watch your video. So if you come up with this great logo animation, it's awesome, it's your brand, and it takes 6 seconds, 10 seconds, that guy's not going to stop and watch it, or woman, sorry. But they're going to just pass up. They're going to keep on scrolling because that you didn't get their attention. So if you're doing like Sonic Boom, which we did in Exploding Target, I'm going to put something blowing up right away because that person's going to, whoa, I just saw something blow up.
Which is abnormal for...
in advertising. So set your brand apart by doing that before your other consumers do, or your other clients do. And so by setting that precedence and knowing people, they'll start engaging with your content. They're like, hey, these guys are, great at what they do. This brand is loyal or whatever. And you're building something that's going to excite people, and that's what you want to do. You want them to watch the video. So when in Facebook, 3-second views, they break it down. But you can say, hey, I've got 100,000 views on this video, and you show your client, they're like, oh, that's awesome. But then when you dig in the analytics, you're like 92,000 of them were 3-second views or less.
Which means they quit caring within 3 seconds.
Or when they're scrolling and, it takes you a second to hit the scroll, you've paused. And when you pause, Facebook is capturing that as a view.
Right.
And people don't realize that just means that somebody stopped their finger and then, looked at somebody else, looked away, did whatever, and paused. They didn't watch anything past that. I want to know how many people are actually engaged with my video. If I've got a minute-long video and I look at it and I say, okay, the average person watched this video for 48 seconds. That's awesome. That's what I want. I'm looking at that kind of analytics to say, okay, where did we lose them? At what point did we lose them?
I just had this conversation with my wife, and somebody commented that I've had good success and I've been good at social media. And I stopped and I thought, by most parameters, that's not really true. And there's some things that I fail at. One of them is consistency. I don't put it out enough. I'm not really calculated, but I do have some good luck. And I kind of really try to get to the bottom of that. And I realized it's because rather than focusing on views at all, I try to focus on solidifying a relationship that I have with a customer. Because to me, even someone who's already aware of me, I fail a lot of times at getting 10,000 people to be aware of me. But if I take 10 people who are casually aware of me, and that content, even if it's not viral and it's not broadly appealing to all of my customer base, if it creates a sentiment within one guy who goes from, and a lot of times it's just being honest about who you are as a business owner. If he goes from just, oh yeah, I dig those guys, to that's my buddy and that's the guy that believes like I do, he's willing to go to bat for you and become an advocate. And converting a handful of those guys at times can be just as valuable as blasting something out to...
More valuable.
Yeah.
You just won that $50 gift card. Because I could preach that all day long and you just hit the nail on the head. Because if I have 100,000 followers on Facebook and I'm engaging 200, Doesn't matter. If I have 5,000 followers and I'm engaging 500, that's worth every penny. I mean, and people don't understand that. Brands don't understand that. They come to us and say, hey, our Facebook is at 500,000 people. We want it to be 1.5 million. And I'm like, okay, well, let's dig into your analytics, look at it. I'm like, man, your engagement is at 38%. This company over here that has 3 million, their engagement's at 0.25%.
Right.
So your followers are loyal. What we have to do is get those people to start preaching to the choir. You know, you need them because word of mouth is the best, and they will come just like your followers. If you've got a touchy subject about an ATF law or something like that, and you get some anti-shooters or anti-gun people on your Facebook, you don't even have to respond because your loyal followers come and do it for you. And that's what you want. They come to your defense.
Yeah, and when you've been honest with them in your mistakes, in your things that you've done successfully, then you get that advocate. And one of the instances we had with this was trying to deal with the ammo shortage. So I didn't want to have overpriced ammo at all. I wish the ammo situation was normal, but I went like 90 days with no 9mm ammo. And rather than just doing it, I went to, and it was probably a tiny fraction of our customer base that saw this message from me, but I said, hey, look, I have a chance to buy ammo at this price. It's over double. It makes me sick, but would you rather have it or be out? Because those are my options. And the customer's like, just get it. I might pick up a couple boxes, and people are going to complain, but it'll be fine. And because I let them in on this is the decision I was forced with, now when the casual guy that doesn't care about me, doesn't know, comes in, he sees expensive ammo, and he gets on social media and he says, oh, this guy's a price gouger and a jerk and all of that. Then these guys say, hey, look, he didn't have a choice. You don't have to buy it. And by the way, I was in there and I saw him sell 50 boxes, so he's not stupid, you know. And those people go out and go to bat for you. And the only way that you can get them to feel that way is to be honest with them about what's happening with your business, why the conditions are that way. And when you screw up, you admit it, you apologize, and you create. I mean, it's really all we're doing is taking old school business and delivering it digitally.
Correct.
You know,
real time.
Right. It used to when your local, whether it's your tailor or your mechanic, when he didn't do something right and you disagreed, he admitted it and agreed to make it right to retain you as a customer. We're just doing that on a broad scale now.
Correct. And it means so much to the loyal person because everybody gets an automated system now. They get a robot or somebody from another country answering customer service that doesn't know anything about really what your problem is. You know, and by building that brand loyalty, it's worth everything. It's, you know, we break everything down. You know, you got KPIs and ROIs and all that kind of stuff about where your money's going, where your marketing dollars going. But to me, it's all about that consumer. How can I get him to buy again? You know, how can I get him to buy again? And that's it. We want the new consumers, but people have to stop and take care of the guy that's going to be there that's buying my product all the time because they are the warriors. You know?
Exactly. And when we get back from the break, I want to hear about some of the things you have in the works and also let anybody listening know how they reach you if they need the kind of work that you offer. Stick with us on The Gun Shop Show.
People are always asking me, Eli, you seem to get the best deals on things. What is your secret?
Glory actions and estate sales.
Trevor, I appreciate you jingling, but I have to say the ad part first because people need to know about the company.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to do that.
And then also, it's covering up my face. So
I'll
just get a picture like from their Facebook page because that's the best place, and then just put it right up here where the Gun Shop Show logo is. Okay.
Yeah. All right, I'll do better this
time. And so let me finish the ad, and then you can jingle. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the best place to go is their Facebook page.
Oh, glory actions and estate sales.
You know what? Fine. I'll just move in between the graphics and finish telling people that the best place to find out when
old glory actions and estate sales. I think I got it that time, man.
Land is everything to me. When I was born, I was brought home to the family farm, was raised, learned work ethic there, learned appreciation and respect for life and the land itself, and it just became second nature. I had to be there all the time. Whenever I wasn't on the land, I was not happy. But I learned to understand the land, learned to respect it, learned family values. My wife and I have bought a farm besides the one we live on, and it has just been a great investment, and it's been someplace that my son and I have shared the passion of hunting together, and land has been everything in my life. It has kind of kept me focused and gave me a place to be. It's kind of kept me grounded.
Hey, you know what makes this, the Gun Shop Show, possible? It's people who believe in the show. And someone who has believed in the show from the very beginning is my good friend Chris Chapman, owner of Whitehead Farm Supply. Here's a message from Chris.
Guys, my name's Chris Chapman, owner of Whitehead Farm Supply, and I just want to take a few seconds here to let you know that we are going to be proud sponsors of the Gun Shop Show, and we appreciate everything that them guys are doing over there, and we just want to show them our support. Thank you.
So whether you have 2 chickens or 2,000 acres, Chris is your man. Give him a call. I guess that's pretty much the ad.
Whitehead Farm Supply.
Seriously?
Hurricane Harvey and Hurricane Irma devastated the Texas and Florida coast, causing unprecedented damage. During difficult times like these, we tend to experience the best out of people, as seen in countless heroic images of neighbor helping neighbor. However, these events can also bring out the worst out of people, seeking to take advantage when you are the most vulnerable. From the moment rain and wind started, calls have been pouring into our emergency attorney hotline from members who were forced to abandon guns in their homes overtaken by floodwaters, as well as members who have had to protect their property from looting. Our member John was one of those callers after he was forced to use his gun. Here is his story. During Harvey, John and his son were combating the water that continued to rise in their home. Suddenly, John noticed a truck driving up and down the street, creating wakes. Each time the truck passed, it pushed more water into John's home. As the truck was coming back around, John's son went out to confront the driver and ask him to stop. John didn't recognize the truck as being from the neighborhood and was worried the driver might be casing the street looking for an opportunity to loot empty houses. Responsibly and legally armed, he followed his son outside. As John walked toward the truck, the driver started accelerating straight at his son. John, fearing for his son's safety, fired a single shot in order to startle the driver and give his son time to move. When the police arrived, they intended to arrest John for deadly conduct. He called the Lost Shield emergency hotline and was immediately advised by his independent program attorney. After the attorney talked to the police, they determined that a crime had not been committed because John acted in lawful defense of his son. Thank goodness John is a Lost Shield member and knew exactly what to do when the police arrived. We were there for John when he needed us most, and we are here for you 24/7 with our attorney-answered emergency hotline.
Welcome back to the Gun Shop Show. If you are joining us for the very first time, welcome. If you're joining us for the very first time, you might be a redneck. If you're joining us for the 10th time, you definitely are a redneck. $50 gift card. Win it right now. All you got to do is share this feed. And if you're listening on the radio or you're watching, well, you couldn't be watching on KODE 12 because they just got 1 hour.
We're listening on the podcast too.
Yeah.
We can't leave those folks out.
However you're listening, you're going to want to jump over to Facebook, type in Liberty Tree Guns, and find the stream. You're going to find me slightly out of frame.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah. So we don't have a cameraman.
No.
So we got a camera.
We got a cameraman.
And a man that gets in front of it And that's why it's all crooked right now.
It's more like camera, comma, man.
Yeah. Camera, space, man
Right.
on a list. Those are all the ingredients for the Gun Shop Show.
Something I want to speak directly to our podcast listeners right now. And that's to say that if you're listening on the podcast, you go ahead and you jump over to Facebook. Even after you've listened to it, you can still share this show and tag 5 friends in the comments and still get entered to win one of our awesome prizes.
Yeah, so podcast is one of those things that some of our listeners overlook. That I have people tell me with great solace, and they're dead serious. They're like, "Hey, man, I love the show."
Yeah,
but they're serious. They're like, "But I was in the waiting room at the hospital, and you guys were being
what was happening?
And you guys were being kind of loud, and I had to turn it off, man. I missed the show. I missed the show. I'll just have to watch next week." And I'm like, bro,
yeah,
you can watch it anytime with the podcast, or watch it on YouTube, watch it on demand.
Hey, man, we're living in the space age. It's all on cart now.
Yeah, we want you to obviously.
It's in the cloud.
Yeah, that's right. Anywhere you want it, anytime you want it. Go to any podcast player and talking Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Just subscribe to it. Every time we put out a new episode, right at the end of the episode, it's going to be in there. You can watch it.
Bro, we're even on Deezer.
I don't even know what that is.
I know, right?
I never even heard of that.
We're on platforms I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
Sounds made up.
It does, right?
But if you want to win the $50 gift card to libertytreeguns.com, all you have to do is go to Facebook, share the feed, tag 5 of your friends in the comments, introduce them to the show. We were talking about the difference between just views or customers and quality views and quality customers, and how they feel about your company and your brand, and how you have to be a good steward of that. So one of the things that we got caught up in early on in the show was just, we want to get the reach out there. We wish we had, 10 times as many listeners. And we almost lost sight of, regardless of how many listeners we have, how much the ones we do have care, and how little we tapped that as a business. So first time we said, hey, we only have X number of views, which is reaching the 50, 60,000 an episode on Facebook. But the first time we said, hey, go here and buy this t-shirt, it supports the show. Bam, the orders are rolling in from all over the country. And so here we are sweating that we don't have as many views as the next podcast out there. But a lot of those podcasts, if they said, hey, go buy something from us and wear our logo on your body, they would get less engagement than what we've had. And creating that scenario is something that you have to be mindful of. And then once you have it, you have to treat it like a friendship. You got to care about them in the way that they care about you.
It's like a business. A guy said to me a long time ago, business meeting, he said, when you own your own business or a podcast or whatever you're doing, it's like having a baby. He said, you can't just set that baby over there and, 2 weeks later, I'm going to come back and take care of that baby. You've got to take care of it constantly, every day, nurture it and take care of it. And that's the same way with podcast, business, anything like that. So you've got to respond to the consumer because they want to know that you're listening. So if you listen to your audience and you let them know that, hey, man, you know what? This guy had a great idea. We're going to implement the next show. We've been listening to you. We've even got some ideas. Who do you want on the next podcast? Who do you want to interview? What topics do you want to touch? They like that because you're like, hey, well, they're going to answer stuff that is for me. That's why I'm going to keep tuning in because this is for me.
Yeah, and the guy cares. So this kind of reminds me, one day on a Sunday, I drove up here to the parking lot. It's the one day that the store is closed. The parking lot's pretty empty. And I was throwing away some cardboard from in the cardboard bin, and this truck pulls up. And I was a little bit in a hurry, but the guy goes, are you Eli? I said, yeah. He's like, oh, you're closed today? And part of me wanted, because I was, doing other stuff, part of me wanted to be like, yep, and get my truck and drive off. But I thought, these guys care. I don't know where they drove from, but it was from somewhere. And they came to see me, and he's like, hey, do you know any good gunsmiths? And so I said, yeah, I do. And I wrote down the number of a guy I referred to. They said, well, all it is I have this shotgun and I can't get it back together. And then he kind of shows me that he has it with him. I'm like, well, let me look at it. I took it together. I took it as one I dealt with before, and they got a little trick to them when you're reassembling from field stripping. So I took it and bumped the butt of it on the ground, bolted it all back together, and handed it to him. And
that'll be $100.
And he's like, "Wow, thank you so much." And as he was pulling away, I heard they had the windows down. He said, I can't believe that he fixed that for me." And something about he looks different than he looks on TV. And they were all blown away. Something that didn't take me any time. And now he's probably going to leave and really feel it like I cared, and I did. I resisted my temptation to be selfish and lazy and drive away, and probably created a moment that really means something to that guy. And even next time when I screw up, if I do something wrong in business, he's going to say, yeah, I didn't agree with that, but he's a good dude, and here's how I know. And you got to create those moments, and when you have them, one of the other things that's really difficult is when you have that moment, sometimes you want to storytell it without being braggadocious.
100% in what we do. That's the hardest thing about a lot of the stuff that we do. You know, we deal with a lot with celebrities, you know, whether it's NASCAR, Major League Baseball, NFL, you know, country music singers. And you see, you know, it's a prime example of business. The ones that take the time to sign every single autograph of everybody that ever walks up to them, and the ones that are like, nah, I ain't doing that, or they want money for it, or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and that lifelong lasting impression means everything, because that person's going to go to their social media and say, oh, this person was a real a-hole to my kid, or something like that, you know?
Especially nowadays.
Yeah.
And what a shattered dream. You know, you've looked up to somebody, you've admired them, and then you meet them in real life, and it's not what they thought.
That's crushing.
You never get, you never get that back. And it's one of those things that it can be hard as a business owner, because this one moment in a customer's life is just one of 100 you have in a day. But we had a little rough patch with our restaurant, and it's one thing to get a message, hey, I went and I picked up a pizza and it didn't come out right. But, you know, we get a story, hey, my 11-year-old daughter, the only thing she wanted was Cave Gang for her birthday. Mm-hmm. And we went in, and then they had this situation go wrong and ruin that little kid's birthday party. And it was a careless mistake on the part of the server, but it didn't mean anything to her. She wasn't like, oh, I'm going to watch me ruin this kid's birthday.
I'm going to get her.
But to that person, you never get that birthday back. You never get that feeling of excitement of what they were going to go there and get. You can't recreate it. You can't go back in time. And so the best I could do was be reverent of that fact and not say, oh, yeah, well, this is what was happening to us at the time. They don't care.
Don't make an excuse. Just accept it and move on.
Yeah. And and
make it better.
Right. Try what you can to make the next one better, and recognize that you can't ever fix the one you've already screwed up. Tell us your website or how people just look you up and get a hold of you, and then we'll come back from the break and talk more.
Yeah, then go to Facebook, Instagram, or our website, www.f-3media.com. It's the F-3 that throws some people off, but yeah, look us up. We've got Sample Works on there, and we're always on, social media, Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn.
We'll be right back on The Gun Shop Show.
Commercial idea for net fishes. I walk into the commercial director, we'll call him's office. I say to him, hey, how's it going? He replies, good. We got your commercial ready to go. Are you ready to listen? Yeah, but before I do, I have an idea I want to float by you. He says, okay, a bit sarcastically. And I say, all right. And I clear my throat and I start singing this song, something similar. Net fishes, we're all really good friends, hanging out and stuff, and having memories to talk about when we were young. It's net fishes. And I say the business name wrong, like fish nets. He replies, that's terrible. And you didn't even say the right business name at the end. It's your business. Then it cuts to fish snatches. Net fishes, where we can all be friends. and commercial.
The Gun Shop Show costs money to make, and the Gun Shop Show is brought to you by pecans and cheese. Not really. Actually, we didn't have any sponsors for this segment, and so I decided that I would take a snack break, and also I decided if you guys are tired of listening to me eat cheese and nuts, that you need to buy an ad. So from now on, if our ad sponsorships don't sell out, you're going to have to listen to me eat nuts and cheese. In order to sponsor the Gun Shop Show, send us an email at thegunshopshow@gmail.com.
Next week, chips.
If I wasn't watching the Gun Shop Show, I wouldn't be as cool as I am.
Welcome back to the Gun Shop Show. You can win a gift card today by tagging 5 friends in the comments, sharing the feed, and also, I'm going to announce the winner of last week's giveaway.
Oh, yeah. We should do that.
That was the highly elusive 50-round box of 9mm. I mean, that's
stuff.
Congratulations, JT Hardin.
We should let folks know that's actually an empty box. We're keeping the bullets in the safe because that's how delicate it is.
Yeah, I keep them on my body.
You just wrap them around your body.
Yeah, it takes a lot of saran wrap and a lot of, strategy to hide 50 rounds of 9mm, but that's the only place I trust it.
Well, I always wondered why you had those tidy whities with the little bandolier on the waistband.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, trying to get a lady to sew those.
Yeah, probably not going to take off like the Scoofy. Mm-hmm.
No.
Remember the Scoofy?
Yeah, that's still a good idea.
Yeah.
By the way.
Goofy?
Yeah, that's all you get, a little taste.
I'll tell you about it later, but anyway, it's a scarf and a hood combined. So you got a hoodie hood, scarf coming down, pockets.
Mm-hmm.
It's Scoofy.
Gonna be huge in the rap game.
Yeah, wait till you
I can see it already.
Yeah, wait till you see it. Okay, JT Hardin of F3 Media. We've learned a little bit about what you do for companies and brands. Talk about what you have in the works, because one of the really exciting things that people would probably be very jealous to have as a day job, which is to get products before they've even hit the market, to see the coolest stuff, to work in the coolest places with the most interesting people. What do you have cooking now?
I can't talk about it.
Some of it you really can't.
Yeah.
Some of it you can't.
Yeah, some of it we have an NDA in place and things like that. But no, seriously, it's awesome to see the new products come out. And then literally while we're designing some of this stuff, they might make changes to this stuff because we're always improving. These brands are coming to us. They're looking to make it the best, and a lot of times we get a sample to make something, and it might not be perfect. So we gotta look at it because we need to produce this while whether they're getting manufactured here in the U.S. or overseas, they're waiting for parts, that kind of stuff. So. That you're going to be part of a one that we've got coming up with Steiner Optics. You have a building here that looks like it was straight from Afghanistan.
Yes, I do.
Right here in Carthage, Missouri. I was it was a joke, but I was like, yeah, we could shred some stuff and we could make it look like this. And he said your wife was in the background going, oh, he's never even seen this building. He doesn't have to do any of that.
So JT called me and said, we need a big warehouse type building, just a big space to film in. And as we learned more about the needs of the shoot, they wanted it to be rough, like a rough environment. You might
kicking indoors.
Yeah. We're talking about a night vision product that we're discussing. I hope we can say that at least.
Yeah, we can say it. I mean, it's a military, optics for them to kick indoors and take care of bad guys and be able to identify those bad guys quickly and accurately before, they get shot at.
Well, and it's not very often that owning something crappy can pay off, but it did big time.
That's called a diamond in the rough.
The leopard carpet. I mean, it's just the leopard carpet gets me. I mean, I'm thinking of making some curtains out of that or something when we're done.
And what's great is
upholstery,
real leopard.
As I'm walking, so there's a staircase, and leopard carpet is ridiculous enough. Carpeting stairs is another level of ridiculousness. But every time I walk up, and I'm talking about this big old historic building I have, it's 20,000 square feet. But as we walk up, and I'm like, I would like to understand the mindset of the person who installed this leopard print carpet.
It doesn't go with anything, nothing.
And also wonder, would they ever envision that there'd be a dead bat laying on this carpet?
True story.
That is a true story. And so when we got in there, I'm like, look at this. This is just the thing. So it's really exciting, though, to be get a front row seat to that creative process of if you were to show that building to someone, it would not be redeeming in its current state. But the types of shots you're going to get, this is going to create an end product that doesn't look crappy, looks awesome, looks hardcore.
And it looks like it's multiple different areas. I mean, when you're shooting a video of anything, you're always changing the set, you're changing locations, you're changing whatever to make it look like that. The benefit of that building is it's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
It's got small rooms, big rooms. It's got multiple staircases. So if you were, a SWAT team or military team going in to clear a house, it's a great training facility if you look at it because you've got all the scenarios.
Tight quarters, larger quarters.
The hallway outside, you've got that little alleyway where you'd be, you got to pass by a window, so they're going to clear themselves of the window. I mean, there's so many combat tactics in there that you're going to look at that it's great. And it's for us to be able to shoot that video in one location is just awesome. And the photography, and you've got plaster falling off the walls, you've got paint coming up, wallpaper, trim. It's dusty, it's dark. It's absolutely perfect for what we got. And when we took that to, Steiner and showed them, they're like, oh, this is awesome. And I'm like, yeah, you haven't even seen it in person. That was just from a couple of photographs. When you actually see it, we're like, this is the perfect location. And that doesn't happen very often. We usually pay a lot of money to build sets and do things and make that, adding smoke machines or this kind of stuff and laser, and you got to shoot it all at night. Where your location, half of that place, it's dark all day long. The other one's going to let just enough ambient light in there to be able to get the cool shots. And when we show the finished product, nobody will be thinking, oh, they shot that in Carthage, Missouri.
They shot that in a crappy old building.
I mean, you're going to think that you're literally overseas somewhere, clearing, in a Middle Eastern country. And that's the look that we're going for.
And that's the magic of that video work that you do. So I'm going to get into a little bit of the business side so that anyone listening can kind of see if you're someone that can help them. So I would imagine for you, now that you have this reputation in business, these brands that they understand the value of creating this content, and it's a very difficult thing as a business owner to invest a lot of money into the production of a video, because it's not like, if I buy this machine and it does X amount of activity, I can track the exact amount of profit that I'll make off that. Like it costs us money to get the suppressor kiosk, but I can say, okay, I need to sell this many suppressors, and so far it's going this good. To produce a video, it's very intangible. Well, we know it's going to make a difference. We know it's going to showcase our product, but is it worth making it really nice? All of that. So that works good for these brands that they know they need it. What about some of your clients that are like, is it worth investing? And is there anything that you offer in your business that's more approachable to a smaller, medium-sized business?
I used a sample of car dealerships. Local car dealerships put out commercials every month. They're cheesy. I mean, come on, they are. They're cheesy, but they put them out week after week, month after month. And that's really the only local business that I know that consistently puts out that kind of thing. Why? Because it works. I mean, they wouldn't be doing it if they knew it wasn't working. Hey, I saw your commercial, so forth. And it's kind of the same for a local business, whether it's video, photography. It's hard for them to sit down and go, oh man, I got to pay $5,000 for something or whatever. That's more than my budget was last year for the whole thing. The benefit to whether it's video or photos is if you're using social media, if you're using Amazon or direct consumer marketing, it is trackable now. We built print ads for years and years and years, and we still do. You're put in a magazine. There is no way to track your ROI on that. But if you're running a video and you're running an ad and you put some money behind that, I can say, oh, I had 742 clicks to my website. It cost me 38 cents a click, and I had this many views. Now it is trackable, whether it's a video or a photo.
And that's true. And there's probably still a little gray area in, okay, we know they looked at it, we know they clicked it. We don't know how much more strongly they felt about it because we painted this beautiful picture. But I can say to business owners out there, if you really have a story to tell, you really believe in what you're offering, take the gamble one time. Make something really nice. Tell your story. Make it impactful. Don't settle for just say the thing we'd sell. Mm-hmm. Tell a story one time. Give it time. It doesn't work overnight. It's not like you make this video and you post it and the next morning there's a line out the door. It's not like that. It takes over time, but it really will make a difference for your business. And businesses can get a hold of you at f-3media.com and on all the social media platforms.
Correct. Yep. And here's a plug for B&W Trailer Hitches. If you want to look at how to do something, you said you don't want to brag about things that you do. That guy during the pandemic, had no work. He took all of his money, paid all of his workers, kept them on full time, and sent them all over that town to do odd jobs for a year. They were doing construction work. They were cleaning streets. They were mowing lawns. And he paid their salaries to do all this to help out local businesses. And they made a video congratulating him on that. So you're telling that brand story without really telling the brand story. But how many I went out and bought one just because I watched that video. I bought one. I didn't need one. I bought one because I'm going to support that dude.
Yeah,
heck yeah, man.
And that's a gamble that a lot of people wouldn't understand taking, but it makes all the difference in how people feel about you. And it wouldn't have worked if he was really a jerk and it was a shtick. Mm-hmm. People would have just seen
through it.
But because he legitimately felt that way, it worked. Guys, I don't think I'm doing a show drive this show.
I don't think we need one.
We're going to say adios. Thanks so much to JT. I can't wait to be a part of our new project. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you guys for having me. It was a pleasure.
Guys, get the podcast. Tune in every week. We want to be your friends in the gun business.